U.S. weather forecast. Good evening, dear viewers. You are watching the weather forecast news program, broadcast live on our channel. Today and tomorrow mark a special transition. Summer has just ended and we have officially stepped into the first days of autumn. But instead of the usual mildness, the United States is opening September with a climate picture that is both unusual and extreme. Over the past few days at the end of August and now into early September, millions of residents from the Great Lakes to the Northeast have been experiencing the surge of a powerful cold air mass, an occurrence rarely seen in the history of September weather. And it's not just a hint of chill. In many areas, temperatures have plunged to levels typical of October, with some nights dropping all the way to winter-like thresholds. Along the boundary of this cold air mass, severe thunderstorms have erupted, bringing the risks of hail, damaging winds, and flash floods. Meanwhile, the West continues to swelter in unusual late-season heat, and across the Atlantic, new tropical waves are beginning to emerge, raising the possibility that Tropical Storm Gabrielle could form in the days ahead. According to the U.S. Climate Prediction Center, the 6 to 10-day outlook shows a broad swath of below-average temperatures stretching from Chicago to Buffalo and Cincinnati, extending down into the Ohio Valley. This is not a typical cold snap. It represents a large-scale shift in atmospheric circulation. A closed-off low-pressure system has formed over the Great Lakes, drawing in a powerful jet stream with winds over 100 miles per hour from the north. In simple terms, the upper-level jet stream is acting like a high-speed highway, transporting Arctic air into the U.S. This is something we normally see in December or January, not September, making it highly unusual. Residents in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Minnesota, as well as across the broader Great Lakes region, have been warned to brace themselves. Forecasts show daytime highs struggling to reach 50 degrees Fahrenheit, while nighttime lows could dip into the 30s. In upper Michigan and near Lake Superior, frost advisories are already being considered. For farmers, this is a critical warning, as early-season frost could damage crops still in late growth stages. Imagine stepping outside on a September morning needing a heavy sweater or coat while the leaves are still green. That seasonal mismatch is a clear sign of how unusual this pattern is. Alongside the cold comes severe weather. Whenever a cold air mass collides with warm, moist air from the south, thunderstorms can quickly erupt. On September 2nd, cities like Minneapolis, St. Paul, Fargo, and Sioux Falls fall under a marginal risk for severe storms. According to the Storm Prediction Center, these storms may be short-lived but capable of producing winds over 60 miles per hour and small hail, enough to cause minor damage to cars, roofs, and trees. By September 3rd, the cold front pushes farther south into Kansas and Missouri, especially around Kansas City and St. Joseph. There, energy levels in the atmosphere, CAPE values, are forecast at 2.000 to 2.500 J per kilogram, a significant number for early autumn, raising the chances of damaging winds, medium-sized hail, and even a weak tornado or two. Perhaps most noticeable, though, will be the temperature drop, a swing of 15 to 25 degrees Fahrenheit in just a few hours after storms pass through. Further south, as the cold air collides with humid air over the Tennessee Valley, multiple rounds of thunderstorms, known as training storms, are expected. This setup could bring more than 3 inches of rainfall within 48 hours to areas including Nashville, eastern Kentucky, southwestern Virginia, and northern Tennessee. In mountainous terrain, such totals could trigger flash floods and landslides. For this reason, the Weather Prediction Center has raised the flood risk in these areas to a slight level. Residents are advised to avoid nighttime travel on steep or low-lying roads. While the east shivers, the west faces the opposite extreme. Across California, Nevada, and Arizona, temperatures remain hot, many areas hovering at 95 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. A persistent high-pressure ridge is blocking cooler Pacific air from moving inland. The result is a stark east-west split across the nation, cold and wet in the east, hot and dry in the west. This pattern is expected to persist through the first week of September. Out at sea, the tropics are stirring as well. In the Pacific, Tropical Storm Kiko is strengthening offshore and may reach hurricane status in the coming days. While it poses no immediate land threat, Hawaii should keep watch in the medium range. Another disturbance off the coast of Mexico is also showing signs of development. Meanwhile, in the Atlantic, after a quiet stretch, a new tropical wave has rolled off the coast of West Africa. The National Hurricane Center now gives it a 40% chance of development within 7 days. If named, it would become Tropical Storm Gabrielle, the 7th named storm of the season. Current model runs suggest it may curve harmlessly out to sea, but small shifts in steering currents could redirect it closer to Bermuda or the Caribbean. Adding to the long-term outlook, the U.S. Climate Center has issued a La Niña advisory for the Pacific Ocean. If this pattern persists into late 2025, it could bring a colder, snowier winter to the northern U.S. and drier conditions to the south. It also raises the odds of additional out-of-season cold snaps like the one currently unfolding. Now, let's take a closer look at regional forecasts. Northeast, New York, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, New Jersey, Connecticut, expect sharply colder conditions this week, with highs only 50 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit, some 15 to 20 degrees Fahrenheit below average. Northern New York and Pennsylvania may even see frost as overnight lows drop to near 30 degrees Fahrenheit. Showers are also likely over the next few days, especially near Lakes Erie and Ontario, Great Lakes, Michigan, Wisconsin, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois. This is the core of the cold blast. Daytime highs will be just 48 to 55 degrees Fahrenheit, with nighttime lows of 32 to 38 degrees Fahrenheit. Northern Michigan and Wisconsin are most at risk for early frost. Scattered thunderstorms are expected in the first half of the week, particularly around Minneapolis and Chicago. South and southeast, Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, Carolinas, warm and humid air lingers, but the incoming cold front will trigger heavy thunderstorms. Nashville faces flood risks due to repeated rounds of rain. Both North and South Carolina should see scattered afternoon storms. Florida stays hot and muggy, with highs near 90 degrees Fahrenheit and late-day thunderstorms. Central Plains, Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Arkansas, cooler air arrives by September 3rd. Kansas City could see highs fall from 85 degrees Fahrenheit down to 65 degrees Fahrenheit once the cold front passes. Texas remains hot, 95 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit in many areas, but northern Texas will cool by the weekend. Severe storms with hail and strong winds are possible in Kansas and Missouri. Southwest, Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada, Utah, the region remains dry and hot. Phoenix will continue to reach 100 to 104 degrees Fahrenheit. Scattered thunderstorms may pop up over the Rockies, but rainfall will be limited. Wildfire danger remains elevated. West Coast, California, Oregon, Washington, Inland California, Sacramento, Fresno, remains hot with highs near 100 degrees Fahrenheit, while coastal cities like Los Angeles and San Francisco stay milder at 78 to 82 degrees Fahrenheit. Oregon and Washington will be cooler, with highs in the upper 60s to low 70s and scattered mountain showers. Rockies and Intermountain West, Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, big temperature swings are expected. Highs will be 65 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit, but overnight lows will dip below 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Frost is possible in higher elevations of Montana and Wyoming. Alaska, temperatures hold steady at 45 to 55 degrees Fahrenheit with light coastal showers. Hawaii, pleasant sunshine continues, with highs 82 to 87 degrees Fahrenheit, though residents should monitor Tropical Storm Kiko over the Pacific. In summary, the first week of September brings an extraordinary weather divide across the United States, bitterly cold conditions and even frost threats in the East and Great Lakes. Severe storms and flooding in the central states, relentless heat in the West, and renewed tropical activity on both oceans. Our advice: prepare your warmer clothing sooner than usual if you live in the north. Heed all flood and storm warnings if you're in the central or southeast regions. Farmers should protect late-season crops against early frost. and no one should underestimate the tropical developments in the Atlantic. Thank you for joining us for this weather forecast news update. We'll continue to bring you the latest, fastest, and most accurate information, wishing you a safe, healthy, and energized start to the new week.